Sunday. Channel's growing again. Thanks so much for everybody supporting it. All the haters. You guys all make this possible. In fact, you make it more entertaining for myself. Um, it's funny. I was looking at some of the comments that some of the people have been leaving on the show, and boy, some of the comments are better than my content, guys. I gotta tell you, shit you guys say in those freaking hilarious. Um, right now, I've got a bunch of gun grabbers that are totally hating on me right now, especially considering because I've been very critical of the Alec Baldwin trial going on. Um, uh, so many people. So here's the thing, and any responsible firearm owner or anybody that has a firearm knows if they're the one holding the gun, they're the one that's shooting the gun, they're handling the gun, whatever, they are responsible while they're holding the firearm. So Alec Baldwin trying to duck out and trying to blame everybody else but himself. Well, Alec, it's not a good look for you, dude. Everybody knows. Another thing that really drives me batshit nuts. Um, if you guys have been watching any of it in the news and stuff like that, they call them accidental discharges. Oh, well, there was two accidental discharges before the actual shooting event that Alec Baldwin had an accidental discharge and blah blah blah. There's no such thing as an accidental discharge. There's negligent discharges. There's not accident. The only thing I can possibly think of accidental discharge would be if a firearm just went off by itself, malfunction, whatever, nobody was even handling it, and what are the odds of that happening? You look at you take the four basic universal rules of firearm safety. Treat it like it's loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. It's never point a firearm at anything you do not wish to destroy or kill. Be aware of what you're shooting at in the area and your environment around you. Now, take this into consideration or fact. You take those four rules. Somebody handling a firearm breaks one of those rules, only one. Um, Nobody gets killed. It's still negligent, but I mean, look at it this way: if somebody's got their finger on the trigger, they're not pointing it at somebody, it goes off, and well, nobody gets hurt. If somebody's handling a gun like it's not loaded, it doesn't just go off by itself, of course. Pointing a firearm at somebody, well, if they don't have their finger on the trigger and they're, not treating it, or they're treating it like it's loaded, most likely the firearm won't go off. Now, of course, pointing firearms at people, unless you're going to shoot them, is the dumbest thing you can possibly ever do. But you take these rules, you have to break more than one for the most part for these to cause any type of injury or death. It's almost like a safety check in a sense. So, I mean, you look at it this way with Alec Baldwin, and I did a whole video on cross draws, and so there's no excuse. You can't blame it on the technique that he was trying to do. You can blame it on his poor firearm safety training and, no responsibility regarding live firearms. Now people say, oh, well, it wasn't supposed to be loaded. This shooting would have never happened. And Alec Baldwin, he's innocent because there was all these other people that didn't check the bullets. Wrong. I don't care who you are or what you say. Anytime there's a firearm, you check it when somebody hands it to you. They failed to show this throughout the entire court proceedings for Hannah Gutierrez Reed. One of the other actors in the show, the cops were talking to him about it. He's the dude that was in like Supernatural and a few other shows. I'll have to find the clip for you guys because I was reviewing this, and he says straight up, even when they hand me a gun in a movie or a show, they tell me it's cold, which means it's either empty or it's got little cosmetic fake looking rounds that they put in just to give it, that look of authenticity or whatever. He said if it was a six cylinder, if it was a six shooter, sorry, I would take the gun even after looking at each of these and then dry fire it into the ground beforehand before I even get started. And I thought to myself, I was like, see, that's common sense, but we don't have that anymore. A guy of Alec Baldwin's fame, he's been gosh, movies from I can't. I mean, how old I am? I'm not that old. I'm only 40. Well, I guess that is old. But Beetlejuice, all the way up through like The Departed and all these other movies and stuff like that. And I think this guy's been in film for that many years, and he hasn't picked up this habit of firearm safety. But then you have this other guy who's only been in Hollywood maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 years, whatever, and straight up just calls it out how it is. It's just wow. And Alec Baldwin, he's in all sorts of anti-firearm groups and stuff like that. And so, you'd think he'd be even more extra careful for movies or whatever, but apparently not. Um, I believe his entire defense is going to lay on Hannah Gutierrez. Reed was at fault. He shouldn't be at fault. It went changed through two other hands before he got the firearm. And, well, that's bullshit. But I don't know. So, a lot of gun grabbers, they don't like the fact that I'm calling Alec Baldwin. Totally, totally holding him accountable, too. Just like everybody else that handled that firearm. It's, I don't know, funny. Then, I've got the comments from some of the gun grabbers, and I hope they watch this, and I hope they really see this, because they really should know that the comment sections are the most entertaining part for me. I love it, dude. When a person will go off on an anti-gun tangent and just paragraph, huge comments. I love those. I think they're hilarious. I think that when people take the time to type all that crap up, uh, they're not going to change my mind for starters. Let's put it that way. But it's just wow, man. You get that upset and ticked off at somebody on the internet that you would spend that much time trying to prove to them they're wrong or change their mind or whatnot, and it's not going to happen. That's like me trying to debate with people that are against firearms. I don't even waste my time, because here's the thing: they've already got it set in their mind. I've got it set in my mind, and that's that. That's the great thing about America, anyways. The most recent one, though, and this is fantastic. So everybody automatically assumes just because I'm conservative that I'm a Trump supporter. Um, they couldn't be more wrong, but so we'll start on that tangent here. This guy, in fact, let's see here. Why don't I just read it to you guys, because it's hilarious. Let's see here. And my responses are always the same. I'm not going to get into a back and forth, fight and get ticked off and take it personal, because that's just not who I am. I mean, that's just, for me, I think it's hilarious. Let's see here. And I'll even post this on the community page too for you guys. Get a kick out of this one. Where are we at? Where'd he go? Right here we are. So, and we'll even say his name, hell. Jim Bodine, 4197. I really have to question the mental and emotional maturity of a guy who shows off his guns on social media. What is your problem, dude? Another moron with a gun? What could possibly go wrong? Well, here's my response. Well, first and foremost, in the video, that's not my firearm, or me shooting it, silly. You really have to question the emotional maturity of a guy flinging insults on social media. As far as problems, dude, I don't have one. The only person who has a problem is you. I'm glad you took the time to type a comment. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And his response, this is hilarious. Gets better. Nope, my head is clear. So is my conscience. Gun-loving idiots like you are destroying this country with your stupid-ass guns. Time is rapidly running out with the patience of normal people like me. Normal people like him, and he's calling all gun owners, he's classifying it into a group. He's getting all racist, prejudiced, and whatnots. We're gonna ban your stupid guns and take them away from gun-loving freaks like you who don't value human life. Now, anybody familiar with my channel? Here's my response to him. Isn't blaming an entire group of people for all of the nation's problems based off of stereotypes and the actions of a few people prejudice? As far as no respect for life, my channel is about safety training and clowning idiots who are negligent with firearms. Thanks for your input. Please like and subscribe. And then it keeps going. This dude's back for round 3. Let's see here. Interesting development just now. It shows normal people aren't going to tolerate you gun freak morons running loose. Both parents of the Michigan shooter were both indicted. Both indicted on manslaughter charges because of the actions of their crazy ass children. Finally, parents will be held responsible for what their children do. Maybe that might make you morons be more careful about how you use your stupid ass guns. And then my response. Firearm owners should be responsible. Parents were held accountable for their negligence, found guilty by the jury. My kids are trained. They know firearm safety, but I still keep my firearms stored and secured in a safe they can't access. That is my responsibility. Thanks again for your input and watching. Make sure to check out my Patreon, Rumble, and Instagram for more content. So that's the fun, enjoyable stuff that, it's just the back and forth. I mean, they're not going to get a reaction out of me. I know better than that. So, I mean, it's just, don't waste your time. I mean, if you want to entertain us, and you know what, and all my subscribers who are freaking awesome, by the way, they get a kick out of it too. I mean, don't think that we're not all just looking at it and laughing our asses off. But, so, that's kind of some of the fun stuff going on. Now, with the Alec Baldwin case, though, I've reviewed police interviews, everything along that line. If there wasn't a firearm involved in this trial and, hearing and whatnot, I probably would have never took a whole lot of, interest in this case. However, Alec Baldwin, he's an asshole. I feel bad for him, but he's an asshole. He made a mistake. Hannah Reed, same thing, made a mistake, negligent. The assistant director, he's the only dude that flat out just admitted right away and said, you know what, I was negligent. I made a mistake. I screwed up. He took the charge. He got like 6 months unsupervised probation or whatever, and done. And he owned it, though. And I actually have to say, I have a lot of respect for that guy. Alec Baldwin, though, boy, you, Mr. I didn't pull the trigger, you're in for a world, man. And I'm glad that they are at least prosecuting, because I'm tired of celebrities getting away with everything all the time. So anyways, police interviews, Alec Baldwin. First and foremost, his entire interview with the cop is, what came out of that gun? Are you guys prepared to go find out what came out of that gun? And he should have been with an attorney for starters. Should never sit down with the cops and start talking, especially when there's been a death and they haven't ruled it either a potential homicide or manslaughter or whatever. He should know better. He's been arrested a few times. Number 2, he keeps derailing the detective away from him pulling the trigger questions and talking and things like that and going about the gun. So you have that aspect. He's already, but here's the thing. He could say all he wants, beat it down as much as he possibly wants to, that, oh, well, they handed me a gun that was loaded and I didn't know it was supposed to be safe and with dummy rounds or whatever. Fact of the matter is, goes back to what I spoke of earlier. You're in charge when you hold that thing. Number 2, he did no due diligence and safety. He was neglecting that. And then it gets better. It continues to get even better here. He says, in my 40 years in Hollywood or 50 years in Hollywood, we've always had safety. We've always had good checks. We've always done it this way, blah, blah, blah. So he basically right there, he's affirming that he knows better. He knows what he should be doing. He knows what he should have done. His words are going to damn himself. That's all I have to say. So, all right, Baldwin knows what was supposed to happen, knows the proper safety protocol. He knows the bullets jingle jangle. He knows what blanks look like. He knows what, dummy rounds look like. And so we have that. Then you get to the aspect of pointing a firearm at somebody. Now, he can say, I'll beat it off till it's blue in the face. You cannot deny this one. You held a gun that went off and hit somebody. That's pointing a gun at somebody. And here's what his responses were. Oh, well, we were doing the rehearsal. I was doing the cross draw, and I was coming out like this. We were doing what's called blocking, and blocking is where they try to find the best places to film, get the best lighting, stuff like that. shoots her, ends up shooting her, you know, and then the detective's asking a few more questions about this, and so he goes into more detail. And if you actually look at the clip, you can see there's some footage of him doing this where he pulls the gun out and everything along the line. Well, first off, he did point the gun at somebody because obviously he shot them. Number two, when he's drawing the gun in that rehearsal footage that we've all seen, I even have it up on mine in multiple clips and videos. I use that one quite a bit. Trigger discipline. He pulls the firearm out. He's already got his finger right on that trigger. He cocks it and boom, it goes off. Now, with a single action Colt like that, with a 45 long Colt caliber round and revolvers from back then in the late 1800s, those guns all ran off a hammer. You have to cock it back every time and shoot it. It's not like the more modern revolvers today that'll rotate the cylinder to the next round. So not only did he pull that out, cocked it, pointed it at somebody, hit the trigger, negligent discharge, and shot because he wasn't supposed to shoot in that scene. That happened. Well, now, you know, they're blaming it on the round not being there. Rewind it here, go back to the trial. They had a few professional armorers come in and go over some of the footage, other footage of the film, you know, because they're going over her negligence, Hannah Reed's. And you've got Alec Baldwin waving a gun around in one scene at cast crew members. You can hear the armorer telling all the crew member people they need to move out of the way of where he's pointing the gun, but she doesn't say anything to Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin already in this interview had said, well, I would never wave a gun at anybody. Oh, no, never. My finger wasn't on the trigger. I'd never point a gun at somebody, blah, 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 and going off, right, on that. Well, here's the thing. He was waving guns at people. He did go off script, which that's also going to be a key element, you know, as far as prosecution goes, because he's going off script. Well, that's breaking safety protocol. There's supposed to be very strict mandates and rules and safety stuff throughout all this type of junk. You'll have to look through the discovery. There's like a lot of evidence, information, documentation, all sorts of stuff like that regarding firearm safety in the film industry. So you've got him pointing guns at cast members. You've got him, after they say cut, firing rounds off when he shouldn't be. So right there, that's Alec Baldwin doing as Alec Baldwin wants to do. He's got the ego. He's a complete asshole. We already know that. But the fact is, he's got damning evidence against him, and it's all recorded. So then go further into it. Pointing a gun at somebody, don't have your finger on the trigger. Like I had stated, when he cross-drawed, already had his finger on that thing. Now, if you watch my video that I did of cross-draws, when you draw your firearm, your finger does not go near the trigger. It's trigger discipline. It comes out just like you would. I can't demonstrate it on YouTube live because you can't do lives with firearms. You don't even put your finger on that until you're ready to start shooting. Then you disengage. You should have your finger out. Reholster. Simple enough. Sounds easy. Well, bad habits. People do things without thinking. You know, training-wise and safety-wise. It's the repetition of it, the muscle memory and automation. See, I've drawn a pistol so many times because I shoot so much. I don't even think about it. I just do it. But you would think Alec Baldwin, who is Mr. Safety and anti-gun and all that type of stuff, you would think that he would want to actually, you know, exercise these things, but he doesn't. He blames, and he blames more. So then you get back to the this guy, fucking Alec Baldwin. You get back to rule number 4. Know your environment, your surroundings, things like that. Well, he shot a lady. That bullet went through her. That hit the director and dropped him. I mean, you know, it's you break one of these rules, most likely nothing bad's going to happen. You break multiple, and he broke all 4. I said 3 earlier. He broke 4, if you think about it. Yeah, people do get complacent with firearms and safety, which they never be complacent. You know, that's just like anything. something can always go wrong. Don't get too cocky, but you have that instance. Now, with the cop in the interview, back to the interview or whatever, Baldwin stating that the gun, he cocked it, the gun went off. Now, they thought it was a cold gun, so Joe Souza and Elena Hutchings weren't protected. So, in other words, when there's a firearm with blanks on the set, they have to announce it. That way, the crews, everybody that's working in that area knows, okay, there's going to be a gun that's going to go off. People put their ear protection in, things like that for the movie. They did say cold gun, according to all the testimonies and things like that. And but the thing is Alec Baldwin stating they didn't protect it, so they didn't know it was gonna go off, so they were standing in front of me while I was drawing or something like that. Here's the thing with that: if you're holding the firearm, if somebody steps in front of you, you put the firearm down. If somebody's standing in front of you, you don't pull it out and point it at him. It doesn't matter. He's still liable for it. You're still responsible for your action. And so trying to blame them, trying to blame her and the director for standing in front of a spot as you're drawing a pistol out and pointing it at people, that is not their fault. That is your fault. And the fact that he even would attempt to pass the buck on this just shows you how big of a scumbag he is. I mean, you know, just no accountability. That's all there is to it. And he has his, oh well, my finger was never on the trigger. Well, guess what? The FBI ran it. They beat the shit out of that gun, and the only time they got it to go off was after they smashed it with a mallet doing the lab work on it. So yeah, your finger was on the trigger. Not to mention when you constantly see footage of you pulling the gun out with your finger on the trigger, that just shows people right there that you may claim it, but probability wise, more than likely you probably have it on there. Because bad habits follow you with firearms. It's complacency issues, and like I just said, don't get too comfortable when you're handling firearms. It's like, it's same thing goes for any type of dangerous thing or whatnot. But so there's that spot. So he's got multiple witnesses. He's got footage against him. I believe Hannah Reed Gutierrez is going to testify too. We'll see how that goes. Her sentencing is going to be in a couple weeks, and so we'll find out how that goes. She's facing up to 18 months for manslaughter. That's not very long, but we'll see what happens here. But yeah, the whole my finger was never on the trigger horseshit. Anybody that shoots guns could tell you the probability of that's like 1 in a million. Just own it, dude. Just come forward and own it. Own up to it. I mean, just have it be done. But hopefully, and it's a cautionary tale a lot of people in Hollywood are watching, and hopefully they're more diligent about it. You would think with the whole Brandon Lee issue back in '93 with The Crow, when there was what's called a squib, what it is somebody had been firing the gun with real live rounds, and come time to film or whatnot, they put blanks in the gun. They didn't check the barrel. And so the powder blast from the blanks was enough to project this fragment of a slug that was still left inside of the firearm, and it went off, and that's what killed him. So as far as safety goes, and you should be doing this with your firearms anyways, always check the muzzle, or check the barrel through the breech, not the muzzle. Never point it at yourself. Make sure there's no obstructions, things like that, diligence, do a function check on your firearm, rack the slide a few times, with it empty or whatever, get snap caps, do a few cycling, whatever, clean it to maintain it, be responsible. Guns, just like a motor vehicle, guns are the same. They require some maintenance time to time. It's a system, it's a weapon system. So, it all has to work in coordination with each other. But, with that squib, and that one was a freak accident. I mean, it wasn't a live round, total difference. But we'll leave it at that. I'm trying to think what else is going on. There's some Marines deployed over in Haiti, I believe, because of the gang violence and stuff like that going on there. They're concerned with U.S. embassies or whatnot, people trying to storm it or whatnot. So there's a bunch of deployments that just took place. Trying to think what else news going on might be exciting. But anyways, guys, I think I'll cut it here. I'm gonna drop a few funny clips on some weird stuff I found today. We'll do some more Alec Baldwin case, and we'll do some more firearm training, safety, and whatnot. If you guys have any content that you're curious about or any suggestions, feel free to leave that in the comments. I'm always up for that. I like to make stuff that you guys like. Like and subscribe, share my stuff. I don't care if people use it, cut it, remix it, whatever. Just as long as you send them on over to me, and that's that. All right, guys. Well, you guys enjoy your Sunday, family and friends, and have a peaceful one. Take care.